Today I'll be installing a Seicane Navigation system in this 2009 Ford Fusion. Seicane stereos fit like original equipment without having to use a dash kit or a wiring harness adapter. And they also cost about half the price of a Kenwood or Pioneer unit. So the big question is, are they any good? Today I'll be installing the stereo, showing you how it works, and I'm also going to mention a couple of problems that I've found. Seicane products ship directly from China, so I was pleasantly surprised when it only took a week and a half for this to show up. The first things you see are a thank you letter from Seicane and a warranty card. All their radios have a 1-year warranty. The navigation system is neatly packaged in plastic with plenty of foam around it. The display is mostly black with a little chrome to match the style of the Ford interior. The top of the radio has a wiring diagram sticker, and all the wiring harnesses plug into the back. Here we have the main harness as well as a remote. It comes with a magnetic GPS antenna. You also get an amplifier connection harness, video inputs, and some long USB cables. This is the antenna adapter, and here's the rear view camera input. It comes with a microphone, but the front panel also has one, so you don't have to install this one.
Okay, let's get right into that installation.
The dash panel on the 2009 Ford Fusion snaps into place. Pull it straight out by using a plastic pry bar instead of a screwdriver so you don't scratch the car. The clock panel has 3 connectors behind it. Next, the top compartment has to come out. Use a 7mm socket to take out 2 screws, then pull the box and vents straight out, not up. Use the 7mm socket to take out 4 screws holding the radio. The wires are short, so you'll have to reach in from above the radio to unplug them. I like to use a small flathead screwdriver to release the connectors. Once the wiring is unplugged, you can pull the radio out. The model number of the radio is on the box. Search for S167014 on the Seicane website, then scroll down to User Manual. The manual is online only. There isn't a copy in the box. Next, let's get those 2 screws out of the top of the radio and install the mounting brackets. Let's plan out the wiring connections. Hook up the little red connectors and plug the main harness into the back. The box attached to the wiring is a CAN bus decoder. Newer cars send digital data between modules, just like computers do with a USB cable. The CAN bus decoder reads these signals and tells the radio which steering wheel buttons are being pressed and if the car is in reverse. The GPS antenna screws into the little brass fitting. Let's plug in that USB harness. This is the amplifier harness. Each connector will only plug into a certain spot. Don't worry, you can't mess it up. Let's also connect the rear view camera input and the antenna adapter. Okay, there it is. That's a lot of wiring. Let's see. I don't need the brown video input wiring, and I also won't connect an amplifier. I'll put those back in the box. The Ford radio has auxiliary and USB inputs in the center console. I can't connect to those, but I can run these USB cables here. Pull the center console trim panel straight up. Use a plastic pry bar if needed. The cigarette lighter jack will come out if the car is in neutral. I'm running the USB cable up to the radio. In the back, I have to take out the stock USB connector, then push the aux panel out. I'm cutting a small slot so the new USB cables can go below the panel. Now, just put everything back together. The GPS antenna is magnetic and works best outside the car. This is the hardest part of the installation. I found the wire fits just right in the rubber windshield trim. I put the cable down inside the fender. There is a small grommet in the side of the car that isn't being used. Drill a hole through it and insert the antenna wire. Tape it to a solid piece of wire or coat hanger, then fish it into the car. I'm using zip ties to attach it to some wiring, then the antenna connector goes to the radio. That's actually all it needs. Connect the GPS antenna and don't forget the radio antenna. Those USB cables were barely long enough to reach the center console, so I have to plug them in when the radio is mostly in. Install the 4 radio mounting screws and turn on the key to make sure the radio works. Great, it turns on. Now we can install the top compartment and radio trim. Remember, the clock has 3 connectors. With installation done, now it's time to go through some settings. Let's check out some of the features. Click on the radio. Here you can find an FM station and save up to 18 presets. This car has steering wheel buttons for the radio. Let's go to the Wheel Key Studio to set them up. Press the button you want to program, then choose its function from the list. And just like that, the volume buttons are done. Hit save once you've programmed all the buttons. Oh, here's a cool thing I just found. That user manual is also saved on the radio here. I selected Bluetooth on the radio, then I'm going to the Bluetooth settings on my phone. The radio uses the default passcode of 0000. Hit search and the phone comes up on the list. Now I just enter the passcode and pair the phone and radio. Oh look, I got a phone call.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Orange.
Orange who?
Aren't you glad you have Bluetooth in your car?
Yeah, it's pretty great. Next, let's give it some internet. Activate the personal hotspot on the phone, then log into it on the Wi-Fi screen. Let's go to Google Maps. Let's search for restaurants. Okay, I'll just navigate to that first one. Personal hotspots use a lot of data, and I'd prefer my navigation to just work without a phone. The Seicane system can do that too. Turn the hotspot off and forget the iPhone. Now I'm logging into my house Wi-Fi. Put a micro SD card in the GPS slot on the front of the radio, then go back to Google Maps. You have to log into your Google account, then select offline areas. I just selected all of Salt Lake City. Hit download and wait. Now the entire city is saved on the micro SD card and I can navigate without the phone. For the Android phone, download the Easy Connect app from the Google Play Store. The app is free. To get it working, go to your phone settings, then About Phone. Scroll down to the build number and click it 7 times. This activates developer mode. Go back to the settings menu and select developer options. Turn on USB debugging. Plug your Android phone into the USB cable, then open the Easy Connect app on the radio. You get these big boxes that pull up apps on your phone. Let's add one. Okay, I want weather radar. Let's open that up and boom, we have some rain and snow in the area.
Next up is the rear view camera installation. This stereo gives me almost everything I need, but you can't really see behind the Ford Fusion when you're backing up.
Anything below 3 feet is completely invisible. There could be kids or there could be cats. I would never know. Seicane has a solution for that too. I'm going to install the wireless rear view camera. With the key on and engine off, shift the car into reverse. The backup lights are just below the brake lights in this car. I'm going to open up the trunk and get that liner off. There it goes. I'm removing 4 nuts that hold on the rear trim with an 11mm socket. Pull the trim off and cut a small slot for the rear view camera wiring. Drop the wiring into place and bolt the camera and trim on. Attach the camera wiring to the car's wiring harness. I'm just using zip ties and tape. I'll need access to the backup lights wiring. The reverse light has a black wire and a green and white wire. Strip off the insulation and check polarity with the multimeter. The green one is positive. Connect the camera wires. Red goes to green and black goes to black. Shift into reverse to make sure the transmitter turns on. You'll get a blue light. Okay, now I'll need those radio connectors. Look at the diagram on top of the radio. The camera needs ignition power. Connect red to red and black to black wires. Simple. Connect the video input RCA cable. With the wiring harness plugged into the car, make sure the receiver turns on with the key. All right, let's test it out. Now I can see everything when I'm backing up. I feel safer already.
Overall, I would say the Seicane stereo is good, but it isn't perfect. Let me show you a few things I had trouble with. First off, this display gets a lot of glare. On a sunny day, you can barely see the screen. I installed an anti-glare screen protector, and it took a lot of the glare away, so it's not that bad. If you take a closer look at the display, you'll notice the backlight is uneven. But the touchscreen is responsive and works well, so I would say it's okay. My other concern is with the steering wheel buttons. These 3 buttons don't work. When I try to program them, nothing happens. I get no response. Then, just 2 days after installation, the steering wheel buttons and rear view camera stopped working entirely. So I went into the factory settings menu. The passcode of 126 gets you in. Took a look under CAN bus and I tried a different Ford steering wheel button setup. The system was originally on setting 49 and sometimes the rear view camera and steering wheel buttons did not work. Setting 11 was good. I hit apply and saved it. Then the unit rebooted. After that, it actually worked perfectly. The steering wheel buttons didn't cut out, the rear view camera was fine, and I've had no problems since. However, the last 3 steering wheel buttons still don't work. And the Android phone stuff is really weird. If you hit the wrong button, you end up with this weird screen where it shows you the phone, but it's smaller than the phone display, and you sort of get stuck there. I really wish it didn't do that. The iPhone can only communicate with the radio through Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. It can't transfer any data through the cord, but that's okay, it still charges the phone. And with 2 phone chargers, I have nothing to complain about. In conclusion, Seicane Navigation systems are very good. The software could use some improvement. I really wish these 3 steering wheel buttons would work. Maybe they'll fix it with an update. The hardware seems to be really good quality, and at half the price of the leading brands, I would say Seicane is a good deal. Use the link in the description below to order your Seicane unit for your Ford, and I'll see you guys next time.